Welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a lot for subscribing to my channel, following me, and then liking on my videos. So today, guys, if you are new to my channel, you are highly and very welcome. If you have not subscribed already, please, I would appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. Yeah, hit on that notification bell just beside to get an update whenever I upload a new video. So that's just like basically the essence of that bell there. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew down this keyhole blouse. So you could see the picture up there. I came across it and I really liked it, so I decided to share with you guys. So because I've been treating some necklines on this channel, so that was why when I saw this I decided to make this. So we're just going to get started. So today I'm going to be making use of my patterns to cut. So that is why, like I normally say, that you need your patterns. They are very important. So this is my basics and slopper. I'm going to be using the slopper for the back part. That's for the back. This is the back slopper. I'm going to be making use of it. So I'm going to drop the link on the comment section. So for you to know how to drop this, like I normally say, every sewer, every tailor, every designer, you need a bodice and slopper. You just need it. It actually makes your life easier, makes the sewing life easy. So the next pattern that I'm going to be making use of is my tube and pattern. So I have the video already on how to make this blouse, a tube top. So I'm going to drop the link also. So with that, it's really going to be easy for you to understand. So I'm going to be making use of this two fabric. I'm going to be complementing them. I'll use this Ankara for the cape, and then I'll use this cotton and fabric for the bodice. So we're just going to get started. So in making a dress like this, you could make use of about 2 yards of fabric. So 2 yards will actually be enough. But if it is somebody that is plus size, you could make use of 2.5 inches. So why do I keep saying 2.5 inches? 2.5 yards. So let's just get started. So I'm just going to place my tube and pattern. It is actually a bust here. So I'm just going to place it like this, and then I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut the front as a tube, and then the back is going to be a straight cut. So I've cut out the front pattern. So I'm going to cut out the back now. So this is the front. So in cutting out the back, so like I said, I'm making use of my bodice and sloppers just for the back, just your regular and back. So I'm just going to take my back and slopper like this, and then I'm going to place it. So my half cut. That's the half cut that I'm making use of for this dress. So all off shoulders. So once you are making tubes like this, we usually drop with about 5 inches. So this is the drop. I'm going to be making use of about 5 inches and drop, or 6 inches thereabout. So I'm going to cut out half bodice with my back slope of about 18 inches. So that I'm cutting from the waistline. This is the waistline. So I'm just going to place it now for you to see. So I'm going to extend it a little bit. So I'm going to cut now. So I'm going to insert the front neckline and the back neckline together when I'm done. So you're going to see it. So we're going to go and stitch before we come back and cut out our peplum. So I'm going to be making use of this part. I will make and cut out about 3 inches. I'm going to use it for the band of this blouse, of this my keyhole blouse. So I'm going to add a band to it. So in adding a band to it, I'm just going to reduce my measurement. So you see what I was talking about now. You see how it is. You see, so the yoke is going to be on top of this part. This part is going to be the yoke. That's for the front. So because I'm going to add a band to it, I'm going to reduce my blouse now. I'm just going to reduce it a little bit so I'll be able to add a band to it now. So I'm just going to replace this part. I'm going to replace it with an 2 inches band, so it's not really big, so you could do any inch of your choice. So I'll cut out my band now for my fabric. So I'll make use of my waist and measurement. My waist is 30. I'll cut out a band of about 22 inches. Oh, sorry, about 32 inches. So I'll cut out 3 inches. So when I'm done, it's going to be 2.5. So I think I'm just going to make use of 2.5. It's going to be ideal. 2 inches will be too slim. To join the back, I'm going to join the front together. I'm going to join it, and then I'm going to dart the back. So you open up the back because of the zipper allowance, and then I'm going to dart the back, and then I'll come back and show you how to cut the yoke. So we're going to cut the yoke afresh. We're not making use of any pattern for the yoke. I'll show you how to cut out for the yoke. You need to cut it out as a pattern before you place on your fabric to cut, so you don't run into any problem. So I'm just going to go and do that now. Okay guys, so welcome back. So you could see my blouse. So this is the back, and then this is the front. So like I said, the back is plain, that's it, straight, it's complete, while the front is the tube. So you could see how it is. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to open this up. Let me keep it on the side for you to see. So this is how it is. So this is just a previous one that I cut out. So you see how it is. This is how it is going to be. It is really simple and easy. So you could see that the shape of the blouse that I showed you earlier on is already here. So you just adjust it to the length, to the armhole length. So I'm actually going to cut a new one for you to see. I'm just showing you so you understand where we're going to. So in cutting this out, there are things you are going to put into consideration. You're going to use your chest and line and measurement. So and the chest line, usually from the shoulder, that's from your shoulder like this. For the chest line measurement, usually from your shoulder to your chest line is usually 8 inches. It's just like standard, but we're going to be making use of 9 inches because from the picture you saw that the collar, that's this yoke, it came out and entered into this point. So we'll make use of 9 inches or 10 inches as the case may be. So I'm just going to draft it on the pattern paper now, and then before we transfer to my fabric, because I'm going to be cutting the yoke on this piece here. So we're going to use your shoulder measurements. That's what will be the guide for you. So the shoulder measurement that I'm making use of for this is actually 16 inches. Sorry, 15 inches, which is 7.5. So I'm going to add 1 inch or 1.5 inch allowance to it. So this is like 1 inch allowance. So from this point, I'm going to measure I said I was going to make use of 9 inches. So this is my 9 inches. So this 9 inches will serve as my armhole. So I'm going to just add half an inch to it. I'm going to use as stitching allowance. So I'm just going to fold, I'm going to roll it like this. So this is the length that I'm making use of. And then I'm going to mark this point out up to the 9-inch point like this. So from the 9 inches and points like this, I'm not going to, this is my 9 inches. Normally I'm supposed to curve out the armhole, but I'm going to take it a little bit up. So I'm going to use an 8 inches for my armhole. So you can, if you are going to make use of 9 inches, then you do an 10 inch. So I'm going to make use of 9 inches for my armhole. So I'm just going to mark out my armhole like this from this point like this. I'll roll it out. So I just want this 9 inches point just to be down like this. So I'm just going to mark this point out like this for my front armhole. So you could see with the extra inch it came in. So I'm not cutting anything out yet. We're going to draft it. After drafting, you look at it properly before you cut. You can decide to make any adjustment. If this 8 inches will not be okay, we'll shift it down. If it is too much, if it is too small, or if it's too small, we'll take it up. So it depends on what we want. So we're just going to do that. So the next thing we're going to measure, now I've used our shoulder measurement already. We're going to measure the neckline. We're going to use 3.5 inches. That's 3.5 inches for the front neckline. And then the depth that we're going to make use of, because you see it is a high neck. It is like a high neck. You could use 4 inches for such neck lines. So I'm going to use 1 inch or 1.5 inch for the depth. That's the neckline width depth. I'm just going to mark it like this. So like I said, it is a really stand. So from this point, I'm going to create out my shoulder slope. So remember your shoulder slope. I'll use 1 inch, and then I'm going to mark it like this. I'm just going to mark it to this point now. So from this point now, the next thing I'm going to do now, so I have my yoke down. I used a 9.5 inches. I have it marked out already. So the next thing I'm going to consider, and I'm going to come to this neckline point in order for me to create this curve. So you see this curve that I created here. I'm going to come to this and point now to create it. So in creating the curve, you're going to determine how curvy you actually want it to be. That was why I was saying the armhole is going to be here, because this part now is the part that you're going to stitch on top. So it's just going to come and it's going to sit on our extra allowance. So that is why I was saying, so for this part you could decide to curve it however. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come, this is the midpoint. I'm going to come, so from this point I'm just going to measure, that's from the width of the neckline, I'm going to measure 5-inch points. So I'm going to use this 5 inch as my guide to create out my curve. So you could see the curve, I've already created it out. I've like freehanded. So you're just going to use your pattern to curve it out, so for you to have nice and beautiful curve. So that's just like the essence of. So you could see what I have. So if I feel that it is too straight, I want it curvier, I could decide to I could decide to do this. I could decide to still bring it out more. That's from this point like this now. I could decide to do this. So you see what we have. So we're going. So you see we already have the shape of what we have here. So we're going to cut it out now. So the first thing I'm going to cut from this point now, and then I'll cut out the armhole like this. And then you cut out this part, and then you cut out your neckline. So for this part now, we're going to be cutting this out. So we're going to cut this curve part out like this first, and then check if we like the curve that is achieved. We're going to leave it, or if I don't like it, I'm going to still curve it a little bit. So you see what I have now. So this is the armhole, and then this is the part that will lap on top of the dress. So I'm just going to open it up. Let's place it here and see if we got. Okay, you see our keyhole, because this is a bust here. So you see how it is sitting perfectly. This was what I was talking about. So the armhole, everything is just going to sit and properly. So if you feel like that this keyhole now that we have here, if you feel that your keyhole is too small, all you have to do is just for you to curve on this part like this. You curve it out more. You understand? That's just what you do. You are just going to cut out this part more. You're going to cut it out. This neckline, you can decide to open up your neckline and then use something like a little button or something. You can decide to open it up, sew it and turn it, because you're going to sew and turn. So this part now, you're going to open up this part on this neckline point. So your neckline, you should make it about, if you are supposed to use 3 inches, make use of 4 inches. So you open up this point in order for you to sew and turn. But if you are not going to sew and turn, you don't need to open it. You don't need to open it. So, and you can still decide to sew and turn without opening this. So we got it. So it is okay. So the keyhole is okay. So I could still open a little bit, like I said. Could still do this a little bit. So you see how beautiful it is looking. So I'm so happy it came out beautifully well. So the next thing we're going to do now, this part, that's what we're going to use to cut out our back and neckline, because the back and neckline and front neckline, they are supposed to be the same. So you see what I'm talking about. You see how the armhole is entered properly. So the next thing now for this is you're going to the back and neckline. So this is our shoulder slope, which I'm going to insert. So you see the neckline and the armhole entered perfectly well. So our shoulder slope is here. So for the back neckline, you can decide if you want a deeper neckline. You can decide to just take your tape like this and then measure about 6 or 7 inches. Depends on what you actually want, seriously, for the back neckline. And then from this point, that's from our 3.5 point, that's from this neckline point, you're just going to mark it out like this. So if you want a deeper neckline, you're going to be making use of this. But if you don't want a deep neckline, if you want something like that is a little bit high, you can decide to make use of 3 inches. So you're going to use this. So I'm going to go with the higher back neckline. I'm just going to mark like this, cut out rather, and then take my shoulder slope. So with this, the back and the front neckline, so is perfectly, so you could see it is perfect and it is the same. So we're good to go. So the next thing, I'm just going to transfer it into my fabric now. So it's better for you to cut on your pattern paper, and when cutting, just make sure you add extra allowance to the edges that you will use to, if you're going to roll fold it, if you're going to turn it, just make sure you have extra allowance. So you see my yoke now. So I'm just going to go now and sew and turn. I'm just going to sew it and turn it, and in attaching it, you're just going to attach it like this. You are going to do a top stitch from the top like this to attach it. So in attaching it, so I'm just showing you when attaching. This is how you're going to attach. You're going to attach it from the top like this, making sure that the armhole is sitting and properly on it like this. So you're just going to run a top stitch from this point like this to this point, and then you run a top stitch to this point, because this side is already covered and the neckline, you have turned it out. If you are going to line this whole piece, you could decide to cut out a replica of this and then you line it, and then you just place it on top, and then you stitch this point on top, not from the inside. You do a top stitch like this. So I'm just going to go and do mine now, and then I'll join the back and the front together, and then come back and cut out the peplum for you to see. Okay, so welcome back, guys. So you could see our keyhole and blouse. So the thing is really coming out well. So I really like the output of the result I'm getting for this dress. So you could see how I fixed it. So like I said, all you have to do, so you just place it on top like this and then just run a stitch. You could decide to run along the line. So if you are making use of a lace and fabric, you could decide to place the edge of the lace like this. It's really beautiful when you make use of edge of lace for this. It will be fine. So the next thing that is remaining is for me to cut out the peplum now. So, and then in cutting out the peplum, I'm just going to do like the simplest and easiest way of cutting a peplum. So my blouse and waist is actually 15 inches, that is 30. Okay, so when you divide and 30 into 4, and sorry, into 8, I'm going to add 3.75. So I'm just going to approximate it to 3.8. So my fabric is actually folded into 8 and parts. So I folded it into 8. So I'm going to measure. I'm just going to measure it out now with the measurement. That's 3.75, and then I'm going to measure out the length of my. So I'm using 10 inches length. So I'm just going to mark it like this, and then I'm good to go. I'm going to cut it out now. So I'm going to confirm this second radius and measurement before I continue. So it is correct. So I'm going to cut it out now. So the 30 inches, so you're going to add your zipper allowance to it. So if you are going to be adding, if it is a dress that you're going to add zipper to, you're going to add 2 inches. So instead of cutting out 30 inches, you're going to cut out 32 inches. Depends on how many inches you use for your allowance. If it is 1 inch, you cut out 36. But if it is 2 inch, you cut out and 30 sorry, if it is 1 inch, you cut out and 31. But if it is 2 inches, you cut out 32 inches. So it depends on your measurement. So I'm just going to cut mine now. I actually forgot to mention about the zipper allowance. So at the end of the day, so you see what I have, you see what I was talking about, you see my peplum, it fits perfectly well into my blouse. So I'm just going to go now and connect it, and then come and put it on my mannequin for you to see. So for my own blouse, I'm going to be making it a sleeveless blouse. So you could decide to add any sleeve of your choice to this. So you choose any sleeve that you want to add, you add. But for mine, I'm going to leave it sleeveless. So you see, I've already folded my armhole. So I'm just going to fix this and then put it on the mannequin for you to see. Okay guys, so this is the final look of our keyhole and blouse. So like I said, if you want it to cover more, all you have to do is you just make your curve like this. So it depends on what you want, how exposed you want the keyhole to be. So guys, if you find this video helpful, please do not hesitate to hit on the like button, subscribe if you have not done so already. If you have any question, you could drop a comment down for me on the comment section. So thank you so much guys, I'll see you next time.